What's up, guys? This is Luke Callahan back on the Disc Golf Kid channel. So obviously you found disc golf, one of my favorite sports, but for you it may just be a fun way to walk your dog, hang out with your friends. Either way, in this video I'm going to show you how to get from start to finish. We're going to go from tee shots to up shots, which is just going to be shorter type shots where you want to get close to the basket, and then last but not least, putting. Right now we're going to start off the tee. Alright guys, so I'm going to be teaching you tee shots first. The first one I'm going to show you is the backhand, which is the more common way that people start throwing a disc, especially when they evolve their game. But some of the most basic tips I can give you to not put too much information into your brain all at once is actually face away from the basket when you're trying to throw, because a lot of people when they first start, and me including when I first started, they think you want to look right where you're throwing and they think it's going to give you more accuracy, more distance. It's not at all, actually. When you're doing this, you're doing what we call rounding, which is basically when you're slinging the disc like this and it's not on the same plane the entire time. Whereas when you face away from the basket, you have the ability to pull straight through, keeping it on the same level the entire time. So what I'm going to teach you guys is a standstill, which is what I would recommend starting out with. I know a lot of other people do the same thing. But what you want to do when you get on the first tee, stand facing right at the basket and literally just turn your hips away from the basket, pull the disc as straight back as you can, and then just pull it straight through. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you guys, a standstill with a mid-range, because that is one of the most beginner-friendly discs you can find in disc golf. Just any sort of mid-range is probably going to fly the farthest for you and straightest. So we're going to demonstrate that really quick. Okay, so that went really straight and it went almost exactly where I was aiming, which is exactly what you want to do when you first start. Nobody's perfect when they first start, obviously. Now I'm going to demonstrate a little more complex way to throw, which is what you start doing when you get a little better. You can start doing a run-up, which the key to the run-up, once you get better with the standstill and feel confident in that, is what we call the X step. The X step basically just allows for your hips to turn away from the target. So you want to do one step, another step, right step, and then cross your left foot behind your right foot, which automatically turns my hips away from the target, causing me to open them up, and then I can pull them through when I plant this right foot and get all of that power all at the same time. So I'm going to demonstrate for that for you guys. I'm also throwing a driver now, which is a little more advanced disc, and I'm going to do a run up, and it's going to go a lot farther now. Definitely went a lot farther. That's the basic points about the backhand. So now we're going to jump into the forehand. So now we're going to jump right into the forehand, which honestly more beginners pick up naturally. If you came from a baseball background, ultimate frisbee, football, literally anything where you're throwing a ball, the forehand is going to come more natural to you. It's more of a sidearm in baseball is what I would compare it to. And it's all in the wrist. That's the main thing I can tell you as a beginner. You don't need near as much arm as you think. All of the top disc golfers, their forehand is really compact and simple, and then it's just a wrist snap at the end. So one of the main things I can recommend you doing when you first start is get on the tee pad or in a field, wherever you want to practice. I would honestly recommend a field actually for both forehand and backhand. And you literally want to just practice snapping your wrist. Keep your arm as stiff and straight as possible and try not to move it, and literally just snap your wrist. Now obviously that's not going to go super far, but it went straight and where I was aiming, and just training your wrist to get that snap action can help a lot down the road. So now I'm going to add a run up to this one and just focus on the same wrist snap, and you want to keep your elbow as tight to your hip as you can because it's keeping it all compact. It may not help for distance. I know a lot of people, it's a little controversial because some people want more distance, but you want to keep it close, in my opinion, and just add that wrist snap with a run-up. Now that one went a lot farther because the run-up gives you way more power, and I actually incorporated my whole arm into that one. So now we're going to jump into the upshots. All right, guys, now we're gonna dive right into upshots. I'm actually gonna go over forehand upshots first. I'm gonna show you two different styles of forehand upshot, which is all just about the angle. The angle where the bottom of the disc is below the top of the disc is called high, or the outside of the disc is below the inside of the disc is called hyzer. If the outside is above the inside, it's called anhyzer. Same for backhand. This would be an anhyzer because the outside is below the inside. This would be a hyzer. So now we're gonna jump right into forehand upshots. I'm gonna show you a hyzer first because that's the more basic style shot. Now with a hyzer, it allows for a lot more distance control and touch is what we call it. Meaning when the disc is spiking in on that harder angle, it's easier for it to hit and sit, and it's easier to put it where you want it. The anhyzer is a little more tricky, so we're gonna get into that. But if you're starting out, anytime you have an open field and you can throw whatever you want, I would highly recommend throwing a hyzer. It spikes better and it's a lot more comfortable feeling. So that one's called an anhyzer. The disc actually works the opposite way it's supposed to, but I threw a disc that's naturally gonna fight out of it a little bit. Either one, it comes down to how you're comfortable. So now we're gonna throw a couple backhand shots. I'm gonna do the same thing, an anhyzer and a hyzer. We'll start out with the hyzer. Now, another thing I forgot to mention that I just wanna go over really quick is your grip. Grip all comes down to what you like at the end of the day. I do what's called a power grip on all of my shots, which is basically where you stack your fingers in the disc. Some people like a fan grip, which is more where they're spread out. From this distance especially, you can do either one you want. It just comes down to what you like. So now I'm gonna try it anhyzer. So you can see both styles of shots, forehand and backhand. Again, at the end of the day, it comes down to what you're comfortable with and what the shot shapes for. But now that you know how to do both of them, you can incorporate those into your game. Now let's get to putting. Okay, putting is one of the most important parts of the game. They say drive for show, putt for dough, meaning you can throw as good as you want, but if you can't put it in the basket, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna drop some of the easiest tips for putting. One of the main things being throw everything I've already said out the window. Don't face away from the basket. You wanna face exactly where you're trying to putt, and you want a straight up and down motion. Some people like to go in and out, which is just adding for a little more pace on the putt. I'm gonna show you straight up and down because I think that's the best for beginners. Now, when you're just starting, you want to putt a little softer than probably most people do, just to prevent 3 putts and 4 putts. You wanna be able to get in the basket in 2 putts every single time. So the main thing I'm gonna tell you is it's more of a push. I'm gonna putt at you guys. You wanna bring the disc back to wherever you find it comfortable. I bring it right in here, and then literally time it with your legs and just push it right to the basket and add just a little bit of wrist. I curl my wrist just a little bit and I bring it back, and then I pop my wrist right at the basket just to get that little bit of extra pace on my putt to make sure I get them there. So I'm gonna show you what a couple of those look like. All right, I bricked that, but that's not the point of the video. So I'm gonna show you one more and then I'm gonna go over it again. So if you can see, I think I'm gonna have my dad actually get another angle on this putt just so you can see a different angle, but I'm bringing it straight down and I'm pushing it right at the target and popping my wrist exactly where I want it to go. Now you can see all of those putts, whether they went in or didn't, they were all online just because of that push motion. Please, 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 when you're starting, don't develop any bad habits with rounding or any other sorts of putt. If you can keep it as simple as possible with the putting stroke, it's gonna benefit your game a lot. And again, as I said earlier, try and develop a high, softer putt just to make sure if you miss, you can make your next putt, and it'll make your disc golf experience a lot more fun. So that's pretty much the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sure everyone watching this video is new to disc golf, but if you're not and you watch this video, make sure to send it to all your buddies that are new. Hopefully this can help a lot of people, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace out, guys.